Hi, classmates. This is Beth Vandenhoek narrating the PowerPoint for Daniel Barrera's and my PowerPoint project. So we're looking at Washington Access Code 392-172A-020000, which is the law that covers Fape. What is Fape? Why, thank you for asking. Fape stands for a free, appropriate public education for all students with disabilities. So a free, appropriate public education, meaning an education that will meet their needs, their educational needs, their functional needs for students with all sorts of disabilities. So it was originally established in a court case, which is the Pennsylvania Association for Retarded Children, and that was the 343 Federal Supply versus the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This court case decided in 1971 that a state cannot deny any child an education regardless of any sort of disability. So that was the first ruling from the Supreme Court to say that the states were absolutely obligated to provide that education for students with disabilities. So the law that we're looking at is the Washington version of the Fape law. So the Washington version of our law, in accordance with the federal law, demands that every school district or residential or day schools provide every eligible student, so every student with an IEP between the ages of 3 and 21 years, a free and appropriate public education. So all the way down to 3, all the way up to 21. Because districts are required to serve every student that qualifies, the very small school district that Daniel and I work in recently had to hammer out an agreement with another school district to provide services for a student who was over 18 because our small school district was just not equipped to meet his needs. The Fape laws also include students with disabilities who have been suspended or expelled. So even if a student is completely expelled from school, we are still obligated to provide them an appropriate education that meets their needs, even if part of their needs means not being in the school building. Also, for students who are progressing normally from grade to grade but still need some help, they are covered under this law as well to make sure that they're getting the services necessary to maintain their progress. A free and appropriate public education is a right guaranteed to students by the law that we're looking at, and that right begins on their 3rd birthday so long as there is an IEP in place. So parents who believe their child has a disability can get an IEP in place by their 3rd birthday, and school districts are required to begin services them. Seeking out this kind of assistance at an early age, like 3, helps some students who really need it become more involved in early childhood education, and more early childhood education is just good for everyone. So once a student is determined eligible, they stay eligible until one of the following few things occurs. So if a group of qualified professionals, teachers, counselors, and the parent, based on a reevaluation and a whole reevaluation process, if they determine the student is no longer eligible for special education, then their school district is no longer required to provide them services. Another way a student could be deemed ineligible if the student has met high school graduation requirements. The important distinction here, that means they've achieved a high school diploma, not a certificate of completion, not even an alternative diploma, but an actual state high school diploma that's consistent with the state laws surrounding high school graduation. If they complete their diploma, then the school district is no longer required to provide services. A student who's enrolled in public school, once they turn 21, then the district is also no longer obligated to provide services. However, in some states, they are required to provide transition services and other job training. The final way for a student to stop receiving services and to no longer have a specific right for free and appropriate public education is if the parent requests that the services be revoked and that the child be taken off of an IEP. Money is a huge aspect of these sorts of laws. So if the services need to be provided in the home or in a group home setting, any sort of education-related service can be provided in the home or wherever that child resides at no extra cost. None of the services can come at a cost to the parent. The F stands for free. Medical care, however, is not covered by these special education laws. The laws also do not interfere with insurance or other third-party providers. It doesn't free them up from their obligations, especially concerning medical care for students with disabilities. Another important piece with the Washington law is that any delay is against the law. IEPs and the determination of services need to happen immediately or as soon as reasonably possible so that that student can be getting what they need at school. Another note about funding is at the federal level, states and school districts can be provided with up to 40% of the cost for certain special education services, depending on rulings from Congress. Thank you for tuning in, and our discussion questions are going to be listed below the link to this video. I hope you all had an awesome term, and I'm sure I'll see you guys back in 520 for winter term. Good luck and Merry Christmas.